Mel, you're on.
Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Coming up on This Week in Baseball, the renovated Texas Rangers spring to the top of the pack with the best start in the majors. A rookie of distinction.
If you are to do something different, like play baseball, the media constantly pounds it into you every single day. You know, you're different.
And Toronto's Dave Stieb stays on a roll and rings up another one-hitter. So set aside all your tax forms, folks, because it's time we filed This Week in Baseball. Welcome to Chicago's Wrigley Field, which on this spring day was beset by a pregame blizzard that proved amusing to the visiting Pirates.
We're in Wrigley Field, Chicago, and this is the Pirate Trio of the Pittsburgh Pirates, even though there's more than three. Okay, guys? Ready? Hit it! Here we go! Hit it! One. Hit it!
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The weather outside is frightful, and I am so delightful. I don't want to play, so let us go, let us go, let us go.
That from a team much experienced in the fickle ways of Mother Nature. Last season, during a game in Pittsburgh, the Pirates had to contend with this. So, what's a few snowflakes before a ball game? Certainly nothing a few hardy Cub fans couldn't handle. As for handling the opposition, the main denizens of Wrigley have come up with choice results, thanks largely to their new stopper and former wild man, Mitch Williams, now fast and furious and dead on. Rick Sutcliffe is also getting results. When the snow finally cleared, he blew past the Pirates with 11 strikeouts on the way to a quick 2-0 start. On the hitting scene, sophomore Mark Grace drove in a pair of runs as the Cubs finished off a 3-game sweep of the Pirates. Add to Grace an even livelier bat from center fielder Mitch Webster, who's hitting above 400. All of which is especially good news for the Cubs' chief power hitter.
One guy can really carry a ball club, and I don't think I'm going to be the one that's going to have to supply all of the power. We got guys that can hit for power, that can hit for average, and if we stay within ourselves and play as a ball club, stay injury-free, get the good pitching that we think we can get, then we can be very competitive.
5 straight wins. Now, for the team on the other side of town.
We're not afraid of Oakland. We're not afraid of Kansas City, and we're not afraid of Minnesota. And I think those are the guys in September. It's going to come down to we're going to be in the hunt with them, and we feel that we're going to be in the hunt with them, and I don't think it's just spring training talk.
Well, so far, the down-and-out White Sox in 1988 are not down and out. Off to a rousing start, they've spread the word to the opposition. New manager Jeff Torborg is especially pleased about the return of first baseman Greg Walker, who's hitting near 290. Good numbers for anyone, but great numbers for a player who one day last July was stopped cold by a frightening pain, which he remembers like it was yesterday.
There was a Saturday day game, and had been out taking ground balls, and all of a sudden I felt a sharp pain in my hip, and thought I had a hip pointer or something. They'd pulled a muscle or something, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and I knew something severe had happened. I didn't know if it was a heart attack or something else. I really didn't know. But, you know, I got some good help in a hurry. Our trainer, Herm Schneider, got out and got me stabilized, and they got me to the hospital. And, you know, pretty quick, they assured me that, you know, nothing major was wrong, so we went from there.
Walker was diagnosed with a viral infection in the brain, and after being treated for the condition, he went to spring training with the White Sox, healthy again. though with a somewhat different perspective on things.
Well, the first 2 weeks after it happened, you know, everybody asked me, you know, were you worried about your baseball career? But really it was to the point where we were worried about living at that point. You know, they had, for something that severe to happen to somebody as myself who had been healthy their whole life, and they were expecting the worst. You know, they were expecting something such as a brain tumor, or they were checking me for everything. And for a couple of weeks it was kind of touch and go, and then after they finally ruled out all the worst, then they started saying, hey, everything's going to be all right. You know, you'll play baseball again and everything will be fine. So I went through a week or two of wondering, but it all turned out for the best.
For Greg Walker, on the road to recovery. And for the flourishing White Sox, who knows? Meanwhile, the Toronto Blue Jays were not exactly the picture of good cheer. Many figured them to win the East this season. But things took a bad turn last week in Texas when Tony Fernandez got hit in the face. The pitch thrown by the Rangers' Cecilio Guante fractured a bone in his cheek and put Tony out of action for at least a month. That leaves the Blue Jays without their all-star shortstop.
I was talking to him in the hospital the night it happened, and he said with 2 strikes on me, I was battling the guy, and next thing you know, I was looking for a forkball, something off speed, and he threw me a fastball up and in, and I froze. And he said, I don't know why I got that comfortable against Guante. You know, he can be wild at times, and just one of those unfortunate things. It could have been a lot worse.
Like 2 years ago in the midst of a pennant race when Fernandez collided with Bill Madlock and fractured his elbow. With Tony gone, the Blue Jays dropped their last 7 games and lost out to Detroit for the division title.
It's tough to replace a guy like Tony because of his leadership on the field as well. And he knows the hitters extremely well. I think he's a catalyst of our infield. But having a guy like Manny Lee to back up Tony, you don't miss him as much.
Dave Stieb has certainly picked up the Blue Jays. He's still on a hot streak from last season when he went 16-8. And in his second outing this year, he one-hit the Yankees. Clear proof that his slider is back.
I lost my slider there for a while. We don't have proper mechanics. Your arm angle changes, and you know, you need proper arm angle to get the good spin on the breaking balls. Now all I have to do is concentrate on getting on top of this pitch and following through, and the break it comes every time, and it's sharp, and it's consistent.
Steve was so sharp in his final 2 starts last season that both times he came within 1 strike of a no-hitter.
The way that I lost the first one was a bad hop, and you know, I made my pitch, so I did what I set out to do.
Steve's ready. Here's the 2-2 windup. A swing and a bouncer to second. Big hop over the head of Lee into right center. It took a bad hop. It went over Manny Lee's head into right center for a base hit.
And the next time out, I jammed the guy, and he got a broken bat base hit.
A swing and a shot down the right field line at the base hit. And there goes another no-hit bid for Dave Stieb.
For me, last year when it was over. Like I said, I was pleased with the results that I got, and that was last year. This year, I happened to get another one. It could have been a 3-4 hitter, whatever, and I've been pretty happy with the results lately.
Time now for this week's quiz, brought to you by today's Chevy truck.
Hi, I'm Dave Stieb of the Toronto Blue Jays. I've thrown 3 one-hitters in my last 4 outings. Can you name the pitcher who has the most career one-hitters in history?
If you are to do something different, like play baseball, the media constantly pounds it into you every single day. You know, you're different, you're different. You think you're normal, but you're not. You're different. You're not right, you're different. And that can be pressing. And if you don't have the right kind of attitude, I think you're going to become bitter. And it's easy to get mad, to look at people and say, hey, you know, why don't you just chill out for a while? As far as being a draw or, you know, filling the seats, I think you can only do that one time. And then people are going to expect some performance out of you. So whether the Angels used me or as a first-round pick, I don't think they would have. I think a winning club can fill the seats a lot more often than one guy can fill it. And, you know, we'll see in the future if that holds to be true. I like this lifestyle, you know. I would like to play baseball for, you know, as long as make a career out of it. I enjoy waking up and going to the baseball field and that being your job, and when that's over, you go home. But I think if it doesn't go as planned, you know, if maybe I don't make a career out of it, I won't stick to it too long, and there's other things beyond the game that I would like to do. But we'll see. I'm going to give it my best shot while I'm here.
He got his first shot on April 8th when Seattle's Harold Reynolds came to the plate, the very first batter of Jim Abbott's Major League career.
So Abbott's first professional pitch is a fastball for a strike, and we are underway.
A promising start, but it quickly turned sour. Displaying a bad case of nerves, Abbott gave up 6 runs and in the 5th inning had to leave, accompanied, though, by a standing ovation, a gesture of appreciation to the extraordinary rookie who was born without a right hand, but who began to attract attention as a star pitcher in high school.
When you start to succeed there, you say, well, maybe I was as good as some of those guys who I looked up to. And maybe that helped me out, knowing that maybe I had a chance to move on to a college or professional level.
At the University of Michigan, Abbott continued to amaze, finishing 4th on the school's all-time victory list. Still more success came in Seoul, Korea, where he pitched the United States to victory against Japan in the gold medal game. From there, Abbott came to the majors, one of only 15 players to make the jump right from high school or college. Now he hopes he has the stuff to stay there.
I think a lot's going to depend on my getting an off-speed pitch over the plate. I'm really a fastball slider pitcher right now. And my curveball or my changeup is going to be the key to my success, I think, if I'm going to, you know, stay a starter in the major leagues.
Jim Abbott's accomplishments are already extraordinary. Now to the Texas Rangers, who are fast and loose and off to the best start in either league, thanks to sweeping changes. A pair of trades brought a slew of new faces and 6 wins in their first 7 games. Ex-Cub Rafael Palmeiro has been a key contributor. Last year, he hit .309, second best in the National League. But this year, he's got bigger numbers in mind.
I look at last year and, you know, I just throw it out. I hit the ball well and I hit over 300, but production-wise, I was very, very disappointed. I know that you know, I can hit 20-plus home runs and drive in a lot of runs, because for a guy that doesn't strike out very much, I believe that I can drive in, you know, 80, 90 to 100 runs.
In the last 2 seasons, Ruben Sierra has driven in 200 runs. Mighty sweet numbers for the 23-year-old right fielder who packs plenty of punch.
Ripped to right field, way back into right. That ball is going. He did it. One swing of the bat. That's what we were talking about. Ruben Sierra puts it into this ball game in a hurry.
Last year he came to spring training, and right from the first day he was upset that he played winter ball the entire time and didn't have time to get stronger. He wanted to get stronger. He wanted to look a little better in his uniform. I think he does right now. He weighs about 205, up from about 185, and just feeling better about himself, I think, could be the turning point in his career of getting over the hump. What he can do, I think the sky's the limit. Ruben could do what he really needs to do, and hopefully he needs to be a great ball player.
The Rangers need Jeff Russell to be a great stopper, a job that's altogether new for the former starter, who chooses the simple, direct approach to relief pitching.
Visually, I don't think I'll be doing anything like yelling at a batter or coming in and, you know, turning my back to the hitter and saying stuff to myself, slamming the ball in my glove. I'm just going to go out, you know, basically do the job that's asked of me, get people out in the late in the game, protect the lead.
Just when everything seems to be going smoothly for the Rangers, there's a menacing presence lurking in their midst.
We're back.
Fair warning for the world champions of 1987, who recently turned their powerful charms on the Tigers, beating them for the 12th straight time. Alan Anderson shut out Detroit in the 14-0 romp. Seems Anderson has found a role model on the Twins. someone he can really identify with.
Next to me here is my son, Alan Anderson. A lot of people didn't know I adopted him this past year as my son, but it's official now. And to commemorate the situation here, I had Alan grow this mustache in honor of mine. So people don't realize that Alan and I do everything the same now.
For instance, throw the circle change, a pitch that last season helped Anderson win 16 games, plus the ERA title. But folks, he plays the straight man in this routine.
I have to give myself a little credit, too, because if it wasn't for me teaching him the changeup, I don't know where he'd be right now. So, Alan, why don't we do him a favor and show him how we hold the changeup? You know, because I think it's, as you can see, it's pretty similar.
Though Anderson is getting the pitch down, he's still missing that one critical characteristic that'll make it almost impossible to tell these twins apart.
He needs one thing, though. My nickname is Bozo. For my hair sticking out of my head now. He's got a long way to go in the improvement of Bozo, but I love him anyway.
Time now for the answer to this week's quiz, brought to you by today's Chevy truck. Bob Feller, the Hall of Fame fastballer of the Cleveland Indians, threw more one-hitters than any pitcher in history. 12. Words of wisdom. Major leaguers have been picking up helpful hints ever since Little League. So tell us, fellas, what's been the best advice?
Not give up when I was going to give up and quit when I was in Double-A ball and I was getting ripped by Double-A players. I was thinking, if I can't get these guys out, then I better give this thing up.
Always hope that there's somebody better than you. I hope that you're not the best, because if you aren't the best, you'll strive that much harder to be better than that one guy.
4 meals a day. And meaning if you have to get up, set your alarm at 7 o'clock in the morning, get up and eat a good breakfast, make sure you eat a good lunch and dinner, and then before you go to bed, eat something else, because by the end of the year, he says you're going to wear it down, you'll lose a lot of weight and strength.
Not going and bust up clubhouses after you get your a fanny kick in a game does no good, and you've got to be a comedian to have fun in this game.
So much for advice that's paid off. Now, what about the tips you fellas could do without?
The worst advice I ever got, and I'm not going to say who it's from, but he'll remember, is that you're a breaking ball pitcher. Throw your breaking ball.
Try and throw an inside fastball to Bob Warner. That's it's not very productive.
Ken Herbeck is not a low ball hitter.
Throwing fastballs to Jose Canseco when I'm ahead in the count.
The worst advice, don't go out and make a fool out of yourself. You know, as a player, don't be go hang out in bars and everything, say, here, I'm Yogi Berra, here I am, you know, and all that. I don't like that.
About a week before the stock market fell apart, I got some advice to double up on everything I owned because the market was going to go higher.
Worst advice I ever had was coming from Tim Mead, PR man for the Angels, to come on this show.
No need to be camera shy. Hey, you eat. Hey, that deserves a forearm bash, and so does our first edition of Great Plays, starting with Baltimore's Brady Anderson, the Oakland A's' Tony Phillips, San Francisco's Robbie Thompson, Minnesota's Kent Herbeck, Pittsburgh's Andy Van Slyke, Darnell Cole, Seattle, Ken Caminiti, Houston Astros, Tony Gwynn, San Diego Padres, Hubie Brooks, Montreal, Barry Bonds, Pittsburgh, Cal Daniels, Cincinnati, and the Rangers' Cecil Espy. Time now to open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's Twib Notes from around the majors. The Yankees' Ricky Henderson is off and running. With 8 steals, he passed the 800 stolen base mark, a total reached by only 3 others: Ty Cobb, Billy Hamilton, and Lou Brock. Bruce Hurst got bombed in his first start as a Padre, but in his next outing, he struck out 13 Braves for the first one-hitter of his career. That wasn't his only career first, though. The ex-American leaguer may not have much experience with the bat, but in the same game, Hurst delighted the home crowd by collecting his very first Major League hit. Now watch this. The Mariners have a runner on third. The score is tied, and Dave Valley's pinch hitting.
That'll get it in. Deep to left field. Kittle turning around. Goodbye, home run. No, it hit the roof. It hit the roof and came back in. He may have an inside the park home run. They're waving him home. No, they're going to hold him. They can't. He went through the sign. Fisk has got him. That was close. There's one for the books.
And the winning run for Seattle. Now for our play of the week, brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. We salute Jack McKeon's Padres for a nifty play that wiped out 2 Astro base runners and refused to stop there.
Ground ball. 1. In the dirt. Nicely pulled up. Oh, they're going to get a triple play. How do you like that? A triple play. Oh, doctor, you can hang a star on that one.
Next week on This Week in Baseball, Roberto Clemente, the Pittsburgh Pirate legend, will be the focus of our continuing series on the 50th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.